You know, every single time you do some online banking, sign a digital document, or even just update the software on your phone, you are trusting this invisible technology to keep you safe. But how does it actually work? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on the bedrock of all online trust, the digital signature. Let's dive right in.
So let's just start with the biggest question of all. If you get an email, how can you be 100% certain who actually sent it? And maybe more importantly, how can you prove they sent it so they can't turn around and deny it later? I mean, that's the fundamental challenge we face in a world without handwritten signatures or face-to-face handshakes, right? To make this all feel a bit more real, we're going to follow a simple story. It perfectly shows the exact problem that digital signatures were invented to solve. We'll call it the pink car problem.
Okay, so here's a setup. We have Alice. She sends a digital message to Bob, who's a car salesman, and she places a very, very specific order for a custom-built bright pink car. Bob gets the message, he's thrilled, and he kicks off the manufacturing process. So far, so good.
But here's where it all goes wrong. When that very pink, very expensive car gets delivered, Alice just looks at it and says, "Nope, I never ordered that." And now Bob is stuck. I mean, how can he possibly prove that Alice sent that order, that he didn't just make it up himself? He is stuck with an unsellable pink car, unless he has some kind of undeniable proof.
This is exactly where public key cryptography comes to the rescue. See, the solution isn't about trying to copy a handwritten signature online. No, it's a completely different idea and way more powerful, and it's all based on a special pair of keys.
So at its heart, a digital signature isn't a picture of your name. It's not a scribble. It's actually a unique block of data created by the sender that lets the receiver prove with mathematical certainty that a message is authentic. So how does this work? Well, every user, like our friend Alice, gets a pair of digital keys. The first one is her private key, which she keeps totally, completely secret. You can think of it like her own unique, unforgeable pen. Then there's the public key, which she can share with literally everyone. This key acts like a special kind of magnifying glass, one that's perfectly designed to check a signature made by her private pen. And here's the magic. Only her private key can create a signature that her public key can say, "Yep, that's legit." And what this whole system gives us are three absolutely critical security guarantees. First is integrity. That means Bob knows the order for a pink car wasn't secretly changed to blue car on its way to him. Second is authentication. He knows for sure that it came from Alice. And then there's the big one, the one that solves Bob's entire problem, non-repudiation. This gives him mathematical proof that prevents Alice from ever denying she sent the order in the first place. Game over for her argument. Okay, so that's the big idea. But how does the math, the magic, actually happen? Let's take a look under the hood of the most famous and widely used digital signature system out there, RSA. The whole thing really happens in 4 steps. First, Alice generates her public and private key pair. Then, and this is the cool part, she does something that feels backwards. She uses her secret private key to encrypt the order. This encrypted version of the order is the signature. So when Bob gets the order and the signature, he just takes Alice's public key to decrypt it. If the result he gets is the original untouched order message, then the signature is proven to be valid. It's that simple. Now this shows the math, but don't worry, you don't have to be a math whiz to get this. The message pink car basically gets turned into a number. Let's say it's 4. Alice then uses her private key to do some math on that 4, which transforms it into the signature, which in this case is 16. Bob then uses her public key to run a reverse calculation on that signature, 16. And what does he get? He gets 4. Because the number he ended up with matches the number she started with, he has rock-solid mathematical proof that only Alice's private key could have possibly created that signature. Okay, this system seems pretty much unbreakable, right? But what if someone tries to cheat? Can an attacker, let's call him Oscar, forge a signature from Alice if he doesn't know her secret private key? Well, there's a really clever attack called an existential forgery. Instead of starting with a malicious message he wants to sign, like "send all your money to Oscar," he actually works backwards. He just picks a totally random number and says, "Okay, this is the signature." Then he uses Alice's public key to figure out what message would have created that signature. And just like that, he has a message signature pair that is mathematically perfectly valid.
But here's the fatal flaw in Oscar's little plan. Because he started with a random signature, the message he creates is, well, it's also completely random. It's just meaningless digital gibberish. He can't control the content. So yeah, he can create a valid signature, but he can't make it say anything useful, like order a black car for Oscar. He has zero control over what the final message says. So the standard defense against this is a simple but brilliant trick called padding. Basically, before any message gets signed, it's formatted in a very specific way. A randomly generated message, like the one from Oscar's attack, won't have this required structure. So when Bob goes to check it, he'll see the formatting is all wrong, and he'll know instantly that it's a fake.
Okay, so with padding, RSA is incredibly secure. But, it's been around for a while, and the math behind it means it's not always the perfect tool for every single job. And that's why there are some really important alternatives out there. For instance, you've got the digital signature algorithm, or DSA. This is actually the official digital signature for the US federal government, so you can imagine it's used to secure a massive amount of official sensitive communication. Its security is based on a slightly different math problem than RSA's, but it gets you to the same place.
And hey, just like with RSA, the security of DSA all comes down to the size of the numbers you use to create the keys. The principle is super simple. The longer the key, the harder it is for anyone to crack. So to get to a really high level of security, you've got to use significantly bigger mathematical parts.
And this brings us to a really, really important competitor, Elliptic Curve DSA, or ECDSA. Now, what's so special about this one? In a word, efficiency. An ECDSA signature can give you the exact same high level of security as a much, much larger RSA signature, but with a key that's only 160 bits long. This incredible efficiency makes it absolutely perfect for devices with limited power, like our smartphones or even smart thermostats. So let's bring this all home. From pink cars to government secrets, we've seen how these clever mathematical schemes are the fundamental tech that lets you trust your online bank, your secure emails, pretty much everything. They really are the invisible guardrails of our entire digital world.
So let's just quickly recap the must-knows. Remember, digital signatures give us those 3 pillars of trust: integrity, authentication, and non-repudiation. While RSA is the old-school champ, more efficient options like ECDSA are becoming critical for our modern gadgets. We also saw how simple defenses like padding are an absolute must to stop clever attacks. And maybe most importantly, in a world where computers are only getting faster, using long, robust keys isn't just a good idea, it's the only way to stay safe. And that kind of leaves us with one last big thought. We figured out that a signature is really just a special piece of data that's verified by math. But as AI gets scarily good at generating incredibly convincing data, text, images, you name it, what does that mean for our ability to trust what we see? What will the signature of the future even look like? And how will we ever prove who or what is truly behind the message? That's a question the next generation of cryptographers is going to have to answer.